Welcome to Mindful Monday. My name is Allison Knight and I am the health coach for Employee Health Center. The last few weeks we have been going through recognizing aversion, trying to identify that so that we are able to see our personal triggers and then come up with a new plan to react to it instead of with aversion. So incorporating more mindfulness, exploration, a gentle and kind exploration, using mindfulness of breath to connect us, using body scan to find any tension or uncomfortableness in the body related to those feelings of uncomfortableness, those negative feelings that we're trying to avoid, hence the aversion, and then allowing things to be the way that they are, looking at those feelings that we don't want to have, and gently exploring them, acknowledging that they're there, but instead of responding with aversion, exploring them, letting them pass by, and then being able to move forward instead of getting stuck in that negative feedback loop. Now today we're going to talk about seeing thoughts as thoughts. And to start, we're going to do a little experiment. And I'm going to read 4 sentences to you. John was on his way to school. He was worried about the math lesson. He was not sure he could control the class again today. It was not part of a janitor's duty. So when I read those 4 questions or sentences, every time I read a new question, the image in your head changed. How did you understand those questions, those sentences, as I read them? Someone's response was, first, I thought it was a little boy going to school worried about a math lesson that was coming up. Then suddenly I realized it wasn't a boy at all, but a teacher. And then with the last line, I had another mental switch to realize that it wasn't a teacher, but the school janitor. So what this little experiment was telling us is that our minds are constantly making meaning out of what we perceive through our senses. And these meanings are often put together based on only a few scraps of information. As a result, we often create meanings that are not a true reflection of what's actually happening. We have to continually update our views with the new information that we receive. We're not aware that we're always making these meanings, and we think that we are simply seeing things the way that they are. So another little experiment called The Office. I want you to take a few moments to imagine this scene as clearly as you can. You are feeling down because you've had a quarrel with a colleague at work. Shortly afterward, you see another colleague in the hall, and he or she rushes off quickly, saying he or she can't stop. Write down your thoughts as they go through your mind. So in this example, my response, the thoughts that I had was, did they talk to the other coworker? What did they tell them? Are they on their side? Now imagine this scene. You are feeling happy because you and your colleague have been praised for good work. Shortly afterward, you see another colleague in the hall, and he or she rushes off quickly, saying he or she can't stop. What are your thoughts at that point? My thoughts? Maybe that coworker was reprimanded or thought they had not done a good job and are upset they weren't recognized for doing a good job. And lastly, look back over the last 2 responses and make note of anything that strikes you about your 2 thoughts in the situation. What I saw was when I was feeling down, my thoughts were more negative about my idea of the person's perception. When I was feeling good and up, it was more negative thoughts about another person's perception of themselves, and I was more concerned for them instead of myself. So it's showing that negative mindset, because I was already having negative feelings, was perpetuated, versus when I was feeling good about myself, I wasn't necessarily having bad thoughts. The thing we need to remember is that thoughts are not facts, even the ones that say that they are. Moods and feelings have a powerful way of shaping our frame of mind and the way we view things. Hopeless feelings lead to hopeless thoughts. Kind feelings lead to benevolent thoughts, and so on. Feelings are what give birth to related thinking patterns. When thoughts and moods mesh, thoughts can be very compelling and hard to see simply as thoughts and not as what is actually happening. The thing that we are trying to do with mindfulness, and by identifying aversion and by allowing things to be as they are and seeing thoughts as thoughts, is that we're trying to learn a new relationship with our thoughts, to relate to them simply as thoughts rather than the truth of how things are. So to wrap up today, remembering these two scenarios of how your thoughts were in response to feeling up and seeing a coworker rush off, and feeling down and seeing a coworker rush off. Next week, we're going to do a longer sitting meditation with a focus on relating to thoughts as mental events, allowing them to play like a movie screen and then pass by instead of seeing them exactly as they are. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you next week. And I hope that you have a wonderful and mindful Monday.